Hi, and welcome to Your Truth Explored, the podcast where we unpack your truths to bring clarity, understanding, and insight into what lies ahead. My name is Rodney Reynders. Today we have a wonderful opportunity to chat with Angie Bowers from The Cage. The Cage is an acronym that stands for Create a Good Environment and is a wonderful platform where free counselling and social services are offered to the Redland Bay community. It is also a wonderful platform for students to finish their accreditation in the counselling study cycle. I chat with Angie about what they do, their outreach, their vision, and their plans, and also we make available a special offer towards the end of the show. So welcome, strap in, and let's explore your truth. Well, it's a great privilege to have Angie with us today, and I am quite excited to unpack what Angie does and what the Cage does. And so welcome, Angie.
Thank you so much. What an honor it is to be on your pod today.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I think I will put it out there. So I do placement at the Cage. So there is a connection with me in the Cage. But I was quite excited to have this conversation because the platform is so amazing and such a needed tool. So, but we'll get into that. So thank you for having me there, and thank you for joining us today here. So tell us about your role at the Cage and why the Cage and the dream of the Cage.
All right, so we'll start off. So now I am the General Manager of Service and Support here at the Cage Youth Foundation. We are a self-funded charity supporting young people and their families across Redlands Coast and throughout different areas in Brisbane area. The Cage is all about making a difference in the lives of the one, which can also unpack to the many.
Tell me the meaning of the Cage.
So everybody always asks this. Obviously, we got a lot of people that really struggle with the name The Cage Youth Foundation. But look, originally the Cage name was CAGE, creating a good environment. And that, is the purpose around, what we sort of do with our programs and services and support.
I ran into that same raised eyebrow when I said, I work at the Cage, and I get the...
Yeah.
And then I say the acronym, I explain the acronym, and then there's some acceptance of the thing. So what started this Cage? What was the birthing point of this vision?
All right. So originally, Peter and Linda Grieve moved over from the north side of town to the Redlands to start a church. Okay. And outside of that, they wanted a kind of an outreach area as well. So what happened was the Cage was born. So it's its own social enterprise now, and its own, thing. But originally it was going to just be the outreach to the community because Peter and Linda had such a huge heart for the young people. So they went to the local mayor at this time when they moved to the Redlands and said, hey, where's the greatest area of need in the Redlands for young people? And originally it was Capalaba, okay? So after that, they started doing dance parties, sausage sizzles, and just that really basic outreach engagement, which turned then into, shopping centres and things, asking the Cage to have a presence outside because they had people that were coming to their shops intimidated by the young people in the community and things like that. So then we did outreach there by way of, we took this massive trailer filled with Xbox games and PlayStation, and we had heaps of fun games, and, we were just that presence at the shopping centre there, which then led to, this could be a long story, Rodney, but that led to us being offered a grant to start a youth space in 2010. So it was that long time of engagement there. And then 2010, they were like, okay, we need something here at Capalaba for these young people. And the Cage has already been doing this, so let's engage them. And so we got that grant there to start a youth space drop-in centre up at Capalaba. So from that, we're continually evolving to where we are now, right? Yeah. So from that, the youth space drop-in centre, we had 80 kids every Thursday night, just, late night shopping. So parents would drop their kids off, or the kids would just walk from wherever they lived, down for the drop-in centre. It was a really central area in Capalaba there. And we had so much fun. We just really created this drop-in center environment, and it was like a very family based area where kids would come and feel safe, supported. We started doing really basic counselling sessions there as well. We'd do family dinners, we'd celebrate birthdays. It was just this beautiful community there at the cage that was created.
Yeah.
And then from there, we moved out to Redland Bay where we are now because the lease ended. And so we had to move to this space where we are and had to evolve with that, with the services we now provide.
And so when you reflect on that whole journey and its different shapes and forms, what's the key, what was the winning recipe that sort of embedded you into the life of the young person within that area?
You know what? I actually believe that building those relationships with young people and that connection is so important. Especially a lot of our young people that were coming to the youth space at that time were young people from really kind of disengaged homes. So they needed that safe place to be. And so in building that space for them and creating that culture there in the space made a massive difference in their lives and ours as well. I mean, our main rule there was respect.
Yeah.
And, we ran that youth space from 2010 to 2014 with like I said, there were 80 kids coming and going every Thursday night, Friday, Wednesdays, whatever.
Yeah.
But there was nothing ever stolen from that space. And there was that community respect was given, respect was taken. We really created a beautiful relationship with these young people and engaged really well.
And as a fly on the wall, I've heard a few conversations from people that enjoy the services that they receive at the cage, and it's this idea of, and some have used this exact words, that they meet me where I'm at, and there's no expectations beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so empowering when you listen to that. But my commercial brain kicks in and goes, "Wow, that's awesome." But there's no revenue stream when I'm just meeting old mate where he's at. So it's got to be a challenge. Would it be a fair thing to say it's a challenge?
It's a huge challenge. And, one of the things I was thinking of today when I was pondering this pod was like, it's been 25 years that we've been engaging with this community, and we are a self-funded charity. So, along the way, we have had to hustle and move and groove. We had to create relationships with businesses and locals and really get that community support around about us and do grants and fundraising and hustle. We had to hustle, Rodney, really. We're not the type that sell ourselves. I mean, who you're talking to now is exactly who you're talking to. Like I talk to the young people like this. We don't change Sunday to Sunday. It's just us. We're real, we're raw, and that's what they see. Like when you said we meet them where they're at, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
Not
and I
trying to
think
change or make anybody different. We're just trying to be
that's
there.
right. And I think you're doing so well. And I think probably what happens is when people are doing the hustle, that there's never a platform where they can get recognized publicly. So I guess this is your moment. From society to you, I'm saying a big thank you because I think you guys are
I
doing
love
an
it.
amazing job. So good on you for the hustle.
Thank
But
you.
yeah.
It's been a lot of years and a lot of hard work, to be honest.
So when you look at the people whose lives you're touching now, what is 2026's big challenge?
The young people we're seeing lately, three main things, I believe: mental health, social media pressure, and identity. Those are the three things at the moment I believe are lacking in what we are seeing in our young people. Those are the main issues that continually coming up that we have to work with and support.
So if I'm listening and I go, okay, so I've got some youngsters in my world, and so that might be the three areas. What are the key nuggets that bring help in those spaces?
Well, counselling is a big one of them.
Mhm.
That's a big thing, and getting that support. But some people are so socially isolated within that mental health or the social media side of things that they don't want to get out and about. But I believe that's when that community support needs to come in, those trusted adults and mentors to actually encourage young people to go and see these support services and
Yeah.
get that counselling and that wraparound support, or engage in a program and then get that wraparound support from that. Because we're in schools quite a lot of our engagement and referral can come from there as well, and obviously the website and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big wraparound support service there that you're working in with community.
And I quite enjoy your mentoring program. So, I often wear my coaching hat, and it leans to the mentoring side of the counseling world. And I look at the Make the Skateboard program, and I think, man, this is freaking awesome. This is so good because the child is engaged in a project that's all his ideas. There's guidance, there's all these things, there's my colors, there's my choices, there's my whatevers, but the mentor is right there walking them through something that may never be able to do on their own. So
That's
it's
it.
just another amazing one of those amazing steps within your program.
That's it. And it's given that young person something to be proud of and something to value. And
Mhm.
that's it's so important. And I mean, I think core memories for you and me, I don't know about you, but when you look back when you're younger, the things that stand out, I believe that skate and coming to some of these programs and being supported by somebody outside of your family or your friend unit, those are the things I believe you can look back and go, wow, actually, hang on a minute. That really helped shape me
Yeah.
and where I'm at today.
Yeah. And so what is the encouragement for the listener who goes, I've got youngsters in my world, in my circle, but I just don't think I can offer them any value. How do we encourage that person to go, there's an intrinsic story within everyone that if we show enough grace, we'll be able to impart to those around us?
Yeah, hugely. I mean, you have a lot of people that say be who you needed when you were young. And I believe that's a big one. I think firstly, don't write off a young person because of behavior, but also if you want to be someone who makes a difference, you have to start by doing something. It
Yeah.
can be anything. It can be anything small, big. It doesn't have to be this huge gesture. It can be something so basic. But if you want to get involved in mentoring and things like that, hit up your local community services and see what they've got going on and volunteer. Give
Yeah.
some of your time.
If you want to scale that back to just to have a conversation, have a genuine
Yeah.
conversation with a youngster
Yes.
is a
Meet them
powerful
where
thing.
they're at.
Meet them where they're
Meet
at.
them where they're at. Exactly. You said that before. So
Yeah, yeah. Now tell me about your counseling program. Obviously, that's the one I know well, but I share it with the listeners.
yeah, absolutely. All right. So I don't know if I said earlier, when we started the chat, but our main areas of support are counseling. We run programs, mentoring, and crisis care. With counseling, obviously, it's a huge, huge part of our support services. It's massive and it has grown over the years, but we provide free counseling to families and young people in this community. You don't have to get referrals from other places, you can self refer. We have a lot of different people that are volunteering. We have a lot of placement people that come in finishing off their hours before that's signed off, to get their bachelor or their doctorate or whatever that might look like.
Yeah.
But free counselling is huge, and we believe it is needed in this community and at this time.
So my reflection on that, when I've had the conversations, people say that that's amazing that there's a place where somebody can go get quality counseling for free, and that is. But I
Yeah,
think sitting on the other side of the requirement, I'm sitting in the side where the cage is a place where I can go and get my final boxes ticked and checked and all those things to make sure that I meet the criteria and all those good things. And whilst that's a very academical approach, it's not available in very many places. So, I could say, oh, it's not like I can go to two other places. There's literally the cage this side of the world that I know of.
Mm,
And so it's a fairly rare resource in terms of not just the person needing help, but the person who wants to get better at providing help. It's an
that's
invaluable
right.
tool. And I don't think we celebrate that as much as we need to.
I agree. You're so right. And one thing I was thinking today was I believe, you can learn so much through books and studying, but until you are on the ground, the cold face of it, you're
Yeah,
not going to get what you really need to succeed as
yeah,
somebody who provides these services like counseling, which is a huge,
yeah,
huge support
yeah.
service, like I said.
You've got chaplains out there. You've got quite a few other social engagement campaigns. Tell us about those.
Okay, so we are also providers for the government for wellbeing officers and chaplains. Our wellbeing officers at the moment, we have 7 in lots of different schools around Redlands and Logan, Gold Coast, and over in the north side of town in Brisbane as well. So we have that reach over there. So we have, yeah, our wellbeing officers slash youth workers that are accredited to do that support job in those schools.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part about grants is that they don't always cover wages. They're good for resources, but not necessarily essential for wages. And there's lots of good ones out there, and there's lots of people doing the hustle,
That's
making it
right.
making it possible. Yeah, and I think sometimes we think charity and we kind of acknowledge their efforts, but I don't think we actually sit down and go, man, that is a significant effort that they're putting in there to
Mm,
make a difference for one person. Even if
that's
it's only
right.
one person. And in the cage's case, I know it's lots of people because I physically talk to lots of them, but even if it were only one person, I think even then it would still be a worthwhile um,
That's it. And that's
story.
what I love about it. I mean, just with our wellbeing officers, one of our stats from 2025, they engaged with 9,604 young people last year. And
Yeah,
so that was when we only had 5 wellbeing officers. So that is huge in
yeah.
itself, right? So that those people that are otherwise missed got that support and that mentoring needed.
Sure, that's an up there number, 10,000
Yeah.
people.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we is the access to that kind of support growing? So, besides what the cage is doing, if you look into the commercial space and the school space and the awareness about mental health, is that ability to get support growing?
I believe it is growing in certain circles. Like the government now are funding positions in the schools to put youth workers and guidance officers, and they're adding more. Not every school receives certain funding, but at the end of the day, it'd be good even just to have one of those support service positions in the school. But I feel like it will be something that they're gonna really roll out in future. It is happening now, but in a greater value, I think, in future, I believe, because as we said earlier, mental health is on the rise, all that
Yeah,
kind of thing. And
and
it's been
suicide.
really steadily growing.
And suicide is probably the tragic one, but the cage is kind of taking a few steps before they get that far down the line and hoping to bring some interventions. But it's interesting that the cage is there even post the intervention. So if it doesn't work, I had the privilege of being at one of your last function and listening to a previous beneficiary of your programs reflect on his journey through a friend's suicide and how he was met at his place, just met where I am.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's invaluable. So we can be tempted to look at life and go, "Oh, the young people are getting worse. Characters are interesting these days. Attitudes are interesting."
Yeah.
But when you look at it, is that true or is that a misconception?
You know, often it's the behavior that frustrates us, is the behavior that should make us curious. And, you know, the behavior of young people, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, they're looking for connection, understanding, or help. And I really do believe outwardly we need to have and may possibly change our mindset sometimes when we're seeing that disruptive behavior and try to look underneath. And as a counselor, you would understand that and, unpack that a lot as well. But, what frustrates us should concern us. And, those behaviors with young people there's something underneath and why they're actually acting out in that way.
There's an interesting piece of research. So if we can remember the phrase, what frustrates us should concern us. Now, the research was interesting in that it said frustration with others. So after the research was done, this was the catchphrase from the research. Frustration with others is often based in frustration with self.
Oh,
And
a good
so,
one.
yeah, so when you think of that chap that just presses the button, what is the link to the button? Because often that frustration is, I should have done better, or I shouldn't have been put in this position. I should. There's a number of steps that got you there, and old mate, whilst
Yeah,
he's pressing the button, is not really the problem. It's the 3 steps back that's the problem. So yeah,
that's
so if you,
juicy.
yes, it's one of my favorite pieces of research to bring out in a session because it goes, oh dear, it's not old mates, it's probably me. And if that's you, it's not good and it's not bad. I believe our worst character traits are actually where our pot of gold is sitting. So I'm an angry guy. If I can lean into it, there'll be value for that thing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's good.
If you're finding that you need to deal with maybe something that you need to deal with, the cage is a place you could go and get some services
That's
in
right.
the local area. And if you're not in the local area, to reach out to your area. So what lessons then? So if we're going to show grace, because we probably need to show ourselves grace, then what can we learn from the youngsters of today?
What can we learn from our young people today? Ooh, I believe, a lot of our young people have a lot of information. Um, but emotionally, I think there's been a little bit of a disconnect due to isolation, sometimes in social media and mental health and issues on the rise and things like that. But I do believe at the heart of it, there's some good-hearted young people out there that
Yeah.
are good kids. And I think we can learn a lot from, I suppose the knowledge that they have now is definitely very different than the knowledge we would have had, say, 10 or 20 years ago. And there's
Yeah.
so much information, I'm trying to say, and
Yeah.
they're aware of it. They know their rights, they know, different values, things like that. I
Yeah. And they know how to
don't,
navigate it. Hey, it's like when you've got a problem, you're like, show me the youngster. I've got to fix my phone. Or my computer's
yeah,
not working. Let me go find a youngster outside because it's not working. They just are hardwired with that. And that's a
yes,
gift.
absolutely. I agree. And I believe they have so much patience for difference these days.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess there are a
Yeah.
few little areas.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, when you say that, have had a conversation, how we have to navigate. Well, I know for myself, and I guess I can only speak for myself, but when I'm in a group of people that think very different to me, I have to be conscious that I navigate showing grace and still standing on my point of view and all those things. But the
Mm,
youngsters are so comfortable with other people being different and binary and
yes,
big subject matters that
that's
they've kind
right.
of taken a stand on, and they're comfortable in that space, which is amazing, and I
Mm,
guess something else we could learn from them.
definitely.
So what is the challenges for the cage?
We need more of us, for one. We need more youth workers. We need more people on the ground, on the coalface. We're a self-funded charity, so a big challenge, like we've touched on before, is bringing in that income and creating those little social enterprises to keep our services free and accessible to everyone. So I guess that would be the main two that are off the top of my head.
And so can I ask you, you talk about free services, and so there's a lot of conversations that I am part of where there's this debate whether a free service is intrinsically valued
Mm.
or not because it's free. Where do you stand on that discussion?
I think first of all, we want things to be accessible. If that's taken for granted, then we need to put a value amount on it. But I do believe it needs to be accessible first and foremost. And those who will take you up on that are the ones who genuinely want to see change and genuinely want that support and connection, I believe.
If you had the means and you look into the mental health space, do you feel there needs to be a greater free service?
If it can be balanced well and managed well, possibly. I mean, we've got places like Medicare and things like that and bulk billing, and we've got so many different services that do provide these types of things. I mean, even in the Redlands, there's a few people that are doing free counselling to an extent.
Yeah,
Um, so more would be incredible, but when there's the need, I believe the business grows.
yeah.
So, and more will open up, and more businesses providing that service will open up as well.
You mentioned at the start of the journey of the cage was this faith journey as well. So the founders started a church, and this was an offspring of that.
Yeah.
So tell me in 2026, so this is 25 years ago. So this is
25 years.
a well-trodden road now, 25 years. So what is the value of faith 25 years later for the client that's coming for help and for those that are pioneering the vision?
Well, obviously, a lot has happened over the years, and we are a social enterprise business, and the whole thing behind it is creators of hope. You know, obviously, we've had to hang on to faith through many years to try and get through to the next
Yeah,
day, the next month, or whatever that looked like. And, but at the end of the day, it is that separate entity, separate from the church, so that
yeah,
all feel that they can come to this place and there is no
yeah,
moral judgment or anything like that. So,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, us personally, absolutely hold on to faith and have our faith.
yeah.
And then we work in hope as well and to bring hope to other people.
One of my big messages in life is this idea that um, the absolute essence of loving ourselves is the key for having significance in other people's lives and in our greater purpose. So God, our destiny, our purpose, our call, all of those bigger
Mm,
statements was also resting on this idea of how I love myself and my capacity to love myself. As it increases, it expands beyond me, and as it decreases, it shrinks within me. And obviously,
yeah,
my
wow.
standpoint is that is that particular concept of self is a verse that I hold pretty dear to myself. So, love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. And so it's the
Yeah,
self is the self version of that. And so that's an acronym: see yourself, engage with compassion, live in alignment, and foster safety. And the
very good.
more I include that journey in my sessions with my clients, and I do that by asking the question. So if 0 is I don't love myself, and 10 is I love myself a lot, how much do you love yourself? And it becomes a barometer that goes, oh, so when I'm doing well, if I find I love myself a lot more, but when I'm doing poorly, I love myself less. And so it gives me a measuring stick that goes, how's Rodney going today? Well, he's
Yeah,
hating on himself. Oh, it's probably time to not solve world peace, but look inwardly. But
yeah.
when he's loving himself, it's probably time to look at seeing if he can give world peace a go.
When
Probably.
you're down on yourself, you definitely cannot love others well at all.
Yeah.
That level of confidence, absolutely, and that self-love needs to be high.
And so is that something we're seeing in the youngsters today? How are they going when they were if they were to answer that question as a cohort?
Oh, well, the young people that I work with, say in my programs, with specifically with one of my programs, that program is completely surrounded and a lot of activities and discussions involving self-worth, confidence, balancing emotions, healthy relationships and friendship. And there's such a great need for that, Rodney,
Yeah,
in the schools and in our community. We run that here at the cage and at the schools because we know the great need, and people are continually asking, for the young people to be put in programs like this. So
yeah.
that's
And
where it's at. It's a little bit low. It's a little bit low on self-love. It really is.
yeah, it is. Hey. And so my clientele, my private clientele is more sort of senior people. So, and it's true there. It's pretty low.
Mm,
It's not uncommon for people in my sessions to answer the answer with zero, not at
yeah,
all. So,
yeah.
and if we're saying that's true for the youngsters, that sort of is an indicator, and it's not good, it's not bad, but it's an indicator to go, if we can focus on this thing, if we can lean into this thing, there's
Mm,
probably a pot of gold there with some great benefits for
that's
society
right.
at large.
And always the question is, what is self-worth? What is self-confidence, with young
Yeah,
people especially? So you have to be ready to come forth and actually nut it out, talk
that's
about
right.
it, really go,
Yeah,
hey, you know, this is how
yeah,
we action this. This is how we grow and build confidence and
yeah.
grow our self-love and how we love ourselves.
And so for the youngsters at large, are they seeing life through the lens of I'm doing all this wrong, or is there scope where they're looking at life going, I'm trying to figure out how to shine? What's the overriding theme of youngsters in your experience?
Good question. I believe they're just trying to coast along. And one of the quotes I continually tell the young people I work with is Dr. Seuss, why do you try so hard to fit in when you were born to stand out?
Mm,
And they're just continually coasting, fitting in, keeping it here at this level, when they're born for greatness. So
mm.
they're coasting.
So what responsibility does Australian culture have in that statement?
Oh, well, we're all about the tall poppy, aren't we?
Well, and this is why I asked the question. So I come from Africa. And boy, the first couple of years I was in Australia, that tall poppy thing nearly killed me because I was like, "Oh, let's fix that." No, no, you can't do that. Yeah. So,
Possibly, like being different. I mean, like we were saying before, there's so much information about an identity and you know different whatever names of this and that. But at the end of the day, nobody actually wants to be shining, which is so sad.
yeah,
Um, and it that we when we're doing these programs and we're running these preventative programs or these personal development things, we want to encourage and inspire them to be uniquely themselves
yeah.
and to be different from the mainstream, like in the box way that young people think they should be.
Angie, I'm excited to be able to, from the context of Your Truth Services that owns Your Truth Explored. We write a whole lot of books and we do a whole lot of social media stuff, and that's our sort of community outreach. But we're quite excited to be able to present one of our books that we use as a resource for young toddlers. It's such a privilege to be able to use a tool like that. And so how do you feel about those kind of tools where it's the message is the problem is not bad. So stress is not bad, anxiety is not bad at the core root. Sure, clinical stress is bad, clinical anxiety is bad, But the fundamental DNA genetic wiring of a person that experiences anger is not bad because anger is a protective tool, or
Yeah.
stress is there to help you excel. Or so how are we going with that message in this day and age?
I think it's so good to give the young people tools on how to balance those emotions because they come out in unhealthy ways if you don't. So a tool like that book, I mean, it lets young people understand that what they're feeling is okay,
Yeah,
exactly as you mentioned. It's
yeah,
okay to feel all the feelings. You feel them. If you bottle them up, you're like that shaken up Coke bottle. And
yeah,
that's
that's
one
right.
thing we continually say. You open the lid, you're just popping off.
Yeah,
So having tools like that, and especially with that age group there,
yeah,
Jasper book, incredible. It just gives people that understanding and that knowledge and those tools to work through whatever they're going through. I love it, and it's needed.
yeah. One of my favorite memories is a client who is coming to deal with their anger. I don't know, I seem to get a lot of angry people. I used to be angry, so maybe I attract them. But um, they said to me they want to solve their anger, and I said, "Why? Your anger is great." And they went, "What? Nobody's told me it's good. It's only ever been bad." I said, "Well, if it was bad, you wouldn't be genetically wired to get angry. So there's good. There's bad ways of dealing with it. There's bad ways of using it, and maybe yeah, because you want to learn better ways of using it. But if
Yeah.
you've got it, it's a good." And he was just like he must have told me 10 times. Nobody told me that. Why has nobody told me that? So it is, and
Good.
I think it is changing. I think the mental health space is realizing that we don't need to. Not everything is a problem.
Yeah.
The way we deal with everything, it might be a problem, but we're not bad. We're genetically wired for success, and
Mm.
we have options. We just need more options.
Yep. Good.
So with options, we're going to give you, the listener, some options today. And as we were talking about, Jasper, the book, we've done a deal with the cage where a large percentage of the profits go to the cage. And there will be a link in the descriptions of this podcast, and there will be some social media ads floating around. And if you're in my LinkedIn following, you'll be getting an email from me with this ad. And essentially, what we're asking you is to buy a book for somebody that is in that age group that could benefit from this message. We're asking you to consider if you have the capacity to buy a second book that we could use at the cage to gift to a client in that age bracket that they can take home and keep as a resource at home. And then beyond that, we are the profits generated from those gifts are also contributing to the greater cause within the cage, which I'm very excited about and am benefiting from. So this is again, I benefit because I do my placement there. So it's such a privilege to be able to give back from something that I'm getting a great gift from. So I'll for eternally be grateful for that. So I encourage you, if this conversation has stirred your passion to reach out to a young person, start with a conversation at the very least, and then go beyond that to resources around you. Community services around you are always looking for help, and there's many that are in schools that you can access their training and go into it. But if you want to help this particular one, here's an easy step for you to do right now. You follow the link and you go through from there.
It'd be huge value to us. I mean, a lot of the money that comes through the cage goes out to basic crisis care. I mean, it could be book lists, shoes, lunch packs, safety gear, resources, a lot of different things, and the money just flows through all those different areas. I mean, we need furniture sometimes, washing machines. So it'll be of great value to us, Rodney, and we appreciate you very much.
Well, Angie, it's been an absolute privilege to spend some time with you, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Your Truth Explored. If today's episode resonated with you, please take a moment to follow the podcast and share it with someone who might benefit from the conversation. Your support helps these messages reach the people who need them most. If you'd like to explore your own truths more deeply, you're welcome to connect with me at yourtruthservices.com.au about coaching or counselling bookings. Also available on that website is our other resources such as music, books, and videos. Until next time, take care and stay connected to your truth.